Just hear I just want to hear us crunching away at some chips and salsa while we record.
Chip break.
That's what people are here for, right?
Yeah.
It's like ASMR mukbang / opinions.
You know, can I tell you something about chicken and thighs specifically? So, I have this quirky thing. I don't like to eat meat off the bone for the most part. Like, I can eat a rib, like a, barbecue rib or something, because it's just one solid bone that I'm eating around. But, like, I don't like to get in there and gnaw chicken right off the bone.
So do you not like chicken wings?
No, not really.
Okay.
It's not my first choice.
Interesting.
I mean, I'll eat them, but then people often remark that, like, I don't, because I don't, like, suck them off, you know? Like, I'm not.
You don't suck people off, and then you get called out. No, I know what you mean.
I tried to donate blood the other day, and they said, have you ever sucked off someone for chicken wings? I had to say,
oh, no.
In the last 3 months.
They're going to eliminate a lot more people than just gave in that way, I feel. But, the chicken wing shame. Because I will tell you, it's one of, like, few foods where people, like, they want to tell you how to eat it or critique how you're eating it.
Yeah.
So you're a nun.
I don't like that, but
clean them.
But the crazy thing is then that, like, I like a drumstick because I do know how to eat it, and I like a breast because I just hawk it off. But, like, I don't even know what a thigh looks like. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, there's a thigh in, like, a bucket of KFC, right?
Right. You couldn't pick a thigh out of a wino.
No. I don't know what it looks like.
There's a wing, a breast, a drum. This fucking guy, this triangle piece of shit, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, like,
I'm sure assembling the chicken on the table, I could probably be like, oh, that's probably the thigh.
The process of elimination.
But I don't, like, if we're getting a bucket of chicken, I probably want the drumstick.
Yeah.
Because it's the easiest.
Fair.
Even though it still requires eating the bone, but, like, I don't clean it very well.
You're not supposed to eat the bone.
I hate the bones. No, but you know the ends, like, there's always, like, meat left there, but I'm like, around that rounded part down at the bottom. I'm not, like,
I love the, like, specificity that we're going into, like, eating.
My chicken eating habits.
Exactly. If anyone hasn't caught on thus far, we are very lithe, salad eating people.
Yeah.
All of our stories have been about food thus far, but
that's what we have going on in our lives.
Talk about what you know, you know?
Yeah. And that's what we can talk about.
Exactly. Food and television.
Yeah.
These are my, if I could monetize my knowledge in both of those things, that would be ideal.
Yeah. I just, speaking of TV, I just finished the new Dexter series. Mm-hmm. It's so good, but also bad.
Oh, so like Dexter, like at large, the other series. I just think I have such a bad taste in my mouth from the end of that. I just still haven't yet approached the new stuff, but...
I think you should give it a try. It's, it makes me think it's much better than, like, And Just Like That. Mm-hmm. The Sex and the City reboot.
Yes.
But in both ways, it's just, there's something wonderful about seeing these characters again.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I hate, is because I am, like, the first person to be like, there's no new ideas in Hollywood. But then when they trot out, like, an old idea repackaged, I'm first in line to watch it.
Right. Especially if it's something you like. I mean, people, it's like, they're smart, because it's like, they know that, like, we could make the worst possible thing. Like, we don't have to put any effort into this and know that people are going to watch it just because it has, these characters that they've been attached to.
Have you watched And Just Like That?
See, that's another one I haven't watched.
Yeah.
Although I feel like because I exist on the internet, like, I know everything that has happened. Like, there's enough people that I follow that just, like, line by line, I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm following along with what's happening here.
It's pretty bad. And the thing is, like, it is not even, to me, it's not even the storylines that are bad. People are being hypercritical of the storylines. Mm-hmm. But it's not the story writing, it's the dialogue writing that, to me, that is absolutely cringe. Terrible.
Also, like, I don't know that the storylines in the original Sex and the City were, like, hard-hitting, as it were, anyway.
Right. Well, and it's not that I think people think they're just wrong. Not that they're, like, bad. Like, people are like, what have they done to Miranda? And it's like, you know what? It's fine. Miranda's fine now.
Cynthia Nixon is
she
laughing all the way to the bank.
She likes to drink in the morning. But, I kind of,
Bailey's in your coffee kind of situation?
More like vodka in your vodka in the morning. But I'm
so she's
into
an alcoholic.
I'm into that. I resonate with that. So
Okay, and then this is where we bring in the intervention people, right?
Yeah.
Dennis, we all love you very much.
This podcast was just a staged intervention into my drinking.
There's only one episode.
Dr. Drew is here. I should have been alarmed when I saw him in the driveway.
I was waiting for the inn. I was like, at some point he's got to start talking about Miranda and her drinking. I've just been waiting.
You knew I couldn't help it.
No. Okay, so here's an interesting thing. I have a friend of mine who is in business school at Michigan University. Have you heard about what happened with their president recently?
With the University of Michigan? The
University of Michigan. Michigan University, is that what I said?
Yeah. But I know I haven't.
It's very European. So, the age-old story of middle-aged man 0 and technology 1, because he was having an inappropriate relationship, consensual, which is a plus when you hear stories like this in this day and age. But he was having an inappropriate relationship with like an employee, essentially, because I'm like a colleague. You don't have a colleague when you're the president, but via email on the university email server, which I just feel, anyone who is using their work email, their work phone to have illicit conversations, it's just like, really, at this point,
you're asking to get caught.
Have we not learned, especially in an organization, like if I work for a private company, whereas obviously the company that I work for has a right to and access to all of those things, but when you're working for a public institution, like, people can do a records request for this, so.
Also, some presidents are very tech savvy. You said this guy's older. I wonder how tech savvy he was, because I can just imagine that his secretary had to get involved. Like, Sandy, can you help me attach this picture to this email? The Outlook's being weird.
Yeah, I don't know. But he, so allegedly, not allegedly, but he told her he was lonely. He bought her gifts from Amazon.
The campus store.
The campus store,
hey, I got you this alumni sweatshirt.
But also, it's, what's sad is, like, when something like this happens, like, the banality of people's, like, conversation back and forth. Like, at one point, he was talking about, let me find it. He was talking about he had received, I think, a gift from someone else, like a box of knishes. You had a knish before? Delicious.
Was that the Michael Chiklis show? Oh, no, that was the commish. I'm sorry.
So, he emailed her to tell her he got a box of knishes as a gift. And when she said she was familiar with knishes, he said, I can lure you to visit with the promise of a knish. It's like, what?
Creepy.
It's just sad. Like, nothing honestly is, like, really stands out in these missives. It's just like, I miss you and lonely and all of that. It's sad, really. I mean, of course, so he's married with children, and anyway, he has now been.
I've never had a romance at work. I mean, I guess I've, like, gone out with other people who were working at my job, but not, like, in my chain of command or area.
Right, nothing where you had to, like, disclose the information. I don't know, it just seems to complicate a situation that's already kind of complicated. Working is complicated.
I've never lured anyone with a knish.
No.
I can say that.
Yeah. I've never shared a knish with someone at work.
But I can also say, and this is why I wouldn't use my work email, which is, public record.
Right.
I would not want anything that I say to someone I'm trying to romantically woo ever read into the record. Did you ever hear any of Elizabeth Holmes' tweets, poetry, and things like that were...
Well, like her text messages, right?
Her text,
back and forth. Yeah.
Her texts.
That's
like, oh, you are my ocean.
That...
Like, I just... Because I don't know that I've written anyone poetry, but I've said some pretty stupid shit to people I was, trying to woo.
Yeah, I don't know what's worse.
I never want it seen.
Is it the banality or, when you're like, you're just going for it and it's like, okay, I'm going to say what I need to say here. And sometimes, I mean, it's not to say that you don't believe that. Like, maybe someone is your sun and your moon and earth and stars.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I think that, like, it's not always like you're being dishonest.
Right.
Like, in that moment, I say stupid shit that then I look back at and cringe now.
Yes,
I'm like, what in God's name was wrong with me? I thought that's what I thought someone wanted to hear. Because in the moment, I have zero self-awareness.
Yeah.
When it comes to romance.
I know,
I have zero self-awareness.
And then when the fog is lifted,
you're like, oh my God, I'm an insane person. But luckily I have friends who sometimes save me from myself too. You know? Yeah. Like, don't send that.
Yeah, that's good to...
It's always... You gotta have someone. You gotta have someone who's not a romantic.
Yes, I routinely... I like to text by committee.
Yeah, hey, I'm composing this.
What do you think?
What do you think? It's true.
I think the lesson is just don't shit where you eat, you know? Don't... You can't... I don't know, it's just a sticky wicket getting involved with people at work.
Yeah. It's best not to.
Yeah, especially if you're married and have children. Inadvisable. So have you done anything interesting recently? I know it's, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so I feel like our life experiences are very limited at the moment, but...
Hardly. I did have a date the other night that went off the rails real fast. Uh-oh. Yeah. I invited a gentleman over off of one of the dating apps to hang out. Okay. He arrived at my house and asked if I had a plate.
Like that was the first request.
Yeah, his first request is if I had a plate. I was like, yeah, I do.
I own dishes.
So I got out a plate. I was like, what's this for? He pulls out of his bag chakra candles. Yeah, and he's like, this one's light blue. It corresponds to the throat. So, yeah. So he's like, I'm going to light it, but you have to let it burn the whole way down. I was like, okay, no big deal. He lights his chakra candle. He's like, do you know about the chakras? I was like, yeah, in general. And he proceeded to give me a master class anyway in the different chakras.
Did he touch where they were on your body as he told you about them?
He did not.
Okay.
But he gave me a lot of detail. And as he was detailing the different chakras, he pulled out more bags that had crystals inside of them. And proceeded to tell me everything there was to know about each of the kinds of crystals that he brought with him.
Like, am I part of a QVC presentation?
Right. I was ready to buy on the spot. Here's my credit card. He asked me if I minded if we went outside for a smoke. I said, no, I've got a heater out back. I'll light it up for you. It's a nice place.
Oh, the hostess with the mostest.
Yeah, so he's smoking on my back porch. And then he came back in, and we were discussing, how he wound up here, and I learned that he had been in treatment for various things. And I was like, oh, okay, nothing wrong with that. He then informed me that he needed to cleanse his crystals. So he had given out my address to his friend who had sage, sage.
So they entered your house, they were fine, and now they need to be cleansed. So
yes.
First of all,
they needed a good cleansing. He didn't have his sage on him, but his friend had it.
So he invited a third person into the situation.
Yeah. Okay. So someone is coming, I don't know who had his sage. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
This sounds like an elaborate, heist.
I was like, oh, this is causing me a lot of alarm. So, his friend gets there, and he's like, oh, he's out front. Do you want to meet him? I was like, absolutely, I do not. So, he goes outside.
I mean, at this point, you're not leaving your house.
No. Who the hell knows
That's
what's going
just
on?
What they want.
So, he goes outside, goes out the front door this time, to get sage from the guy at the street. comes back in with the biggest bundle of sage I had ever seen. I mean, presumably they come in different sizes, I don't know, but this was like